Hey, One Punch Man fans, this is Chris Bolts, and I'm coming in with another video on One Punch Man. This time it's going to be coming from Penguin Zero. Now, in a prior video I just did before this one, I said that the art and animation of Season 3 One Punch Man has just reached critical mass. When you have someone as big as Penguin Zero commenting on your work, then yeah, you know you shit the bed there. So I want to go ahead and take a look at his particular video and see what he has to say. Now, this guy definitely does not need my help putting him out on blast. Most of you guys are probably already subscribed to this guy. He got over 17 million subscribers. By the way, he did a video a few weeks ago where he was basically saying that he's going to turn off the super chats to his videos because he's made more than enough money. Now isn't that very kind of Penguin Zero, Moist Critical, Charlie, whatever you want to go ahead and call him, to do, considering the fact that he made over $35 million since he started up his YouTube channel all the way back in 2010. So yeah, he made a bit of money there. But me personally, I'd have kept them super chats on, and he knows, he probably knows that they're still going to be sending him money. But I digress on that point. This video is about One Punch Man and his views on One Punch Man, so I wanted to go ahead and take a look at that. But before I do get into the video, do make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. All that stuff really does help me out. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get off into it.
I'm making this video with the hope that I am extremely wrong here, and in a few weeks we can all look back and point and laugh at how off I was. Like, I want this video to age horribly, but with my hand on a stack of Bibles, I don't think it will. One Punch Man Season 3 has started, 2 episodes are out, the second one just aired, and you can probably still see my eyes are a bit red from the tears that I shed watching it and rubbing them away. Not because I witnessed peak, but because I witnessed pee. Actual waste. One Punch Man is one of my favorite property. I've watched it weekly since season 1, and it's one of the very few anime that actually got me interested in reading the manga. I've talked about this before, but I typically don't read manga of property that already has an anime adaptation because I'd rather not know what's coming. I'd rather it be a surprise. Even though I typically don't mind if I get spoilers or whatever, because for me it's more about the journey than the destination. But still, I prefer to be surprised when it happens, oohing and awing and kicking my little legs in my chair when there's a big plot twist or something that unfolds.
By the way, I agree with him on that. That's primarily one of the reasons I'm not a manga reader. The other being I just don't care for manga. It's very hard for me to get off into manga, but one of the reasons I don't read manga is because I get invested in the anime and I want to be surprised as I watch the anime. I want to be, I want to experience the cliffhangers myself. I don't want to go in there and know exactly, well, I already know this is going to happen because it's happened in the manga. I think a lot of manga readers do themselves a disservice when they do that. If I was a manga reader, I would never watch the anime. I would just stay with the manga and just leave it at that. I know a lot of manga readers do turn over to anime because they want to see what the animation is going to look like. You got your head canon and your head anime going, and you want to see if the studios can actually do your head canon and your head anime justice. That's not happening here with One Punch Man Season 3. I think a lot of the manga fans of One Punch Man are like, shit, man, I wish you would have just left this in the refrigerator and not busted it out or anything. So I'm the exact same way. Now, I will, if I am very excited about what's going to happen next, or if I feel like there's a plot hole, I will go and do a little bit of research, go visit some wiki fandom pages or something like that to get the backstory. But very rarely do I go and read manga. I mean, I still have my Solo Leveling manga back over here that I bought my first issue, and it's just sitting over there. I don't know when I'll ever get around to reading that. But let's get back to Moist Critical here.
Folds. But One Punch Man is just so juicy to me. I love the world. I love its whimsical, wacky characters, and it is so full of spectacle. The fights are extraordinary in a beautiful manga. And I even really like in one's webcomic. The way that he portrays things in there. I love everything about One Punch Man. It is a beautiful manga that I can't help but sink my teeth into, even knowing full well it will spoil what comes up in the anime. I can't resist. And like I said, it's very uncharacteristic of me to do that. Typically, the manga I read is on things that don't have real anime adaptations, like Berserk. Lord help us. It is so sad. Bit of a tangent. Berserk is an actual masterpiece of a series, which I'm sure all of you have heard before. People gushing grannies over Berserk for a good reason. It is a sin that it doesn't get a true, real anime adaptation past what they already did in the 90s. What happened in 2016, which we don't need to reopen old wounds there, but I don't want to get too lost in the sauce. Point is,
I'm going to get lost in the sauce a little bit. I 100% agree on the Berserk 1997. I can't believe somebody actually sat there and said that the One Punch Man Season 3 animation and art was better than Berserk 1997. Like, you have got to be smoking the worst type of weed on the face of the planet to make that type of comparison. There is no comparison. Berserk 1997 runs laps around One Punch Man Season 3. It's not even close. They don't even belong in the same sentence. Same thing about Berserk Season 2 in 2016. Oh, God. That was just a travesty. That was an absolute travesty. I can't believe Kentaro Miura, God rest his soul, had even signed off on that one. Oh my goodness. If you're going to watch any of the Berserk anime, Berserk 1997 and then the movie trilogy, that's it. And basically the movie trilogy goes back and retells the 1997 arc, but you should still experience both. Don't waste your time watching season 2. But let's get back to Moist Critical here.
I don't typically read manga for things that have an anime. One Punch Man is the exception because I absolutely love the characters in the world there. Anyway though, One Punch Man Season 1 I think is one of the best seasons of anime ever produced. And throughout streams people will often ask, I've never checked out anime, what should I start with? And like clockwork, I will always recommend One Punch Man Season 1 as an entry point to the medium. I think it is just so well done. From its pacing to its beautiful, breathtaking animation, unbelievable animation, the fights are incredible, but also just the character work is executed so well in Season 1. It is extremely good. It is extraordinary. And Season 2 rolled around, and
he's going to get into Season 2, and I'm just going to let him talk about Season 2 because I don't have any other words for Season 2, but I just want to add on to Season 1 of One Punch Man. Oh my God, that was a spectacle. If you guys like Demon Slayer, the first season of Demon Slayer, or any of Demon Slayer, it pays homage to One Punch Man. One Punch Man's Season 1 was just off the charts. There was nothing even close to it when it first came out in 2015. There was nothing close to it. The fight scenes, the comedy, like you mentioned, the pacing, the music, it all worked to create one cinematic masterpiece of an anime. It is that special. And then we go to Season 2, and now we're at Season 3. That's all I gotta say. Let him finish.
It was a bit of a wet fart. That one was very disappointing to me, and I know a lot of people don't like my take on it, but I mean, it's how I feel about it. I think it is just such a huge step down, not only in the obvious decline in animation quality. It's a different studio. It's JC staff that took it over, which doesn't typically do something like One Punch Man, and they did not a great job. Season 2 did not have the greatest animation. It was no longer fluid. It had some really wonky CG in there, and it just wasn't as great as Season 1. It still had its moments because the characters are just so well done, like from the source material. It's hard to fuck that up, but man, did they try. It was still a fine season, but just such a huge step back. So when it was announced that Season 3 of One Punch Man was once again going to be that same studio, I was immediately sad, but I tried to remain optimistic that maybe this time, given more time to cook, they could deliver something better. And now that we're 2 episodes in, they're delivering something even worse. It is actually even worse. Season 2 got dubbed by the fans One Frame Man because there's so little animation. A lot of the times you're watching still images, basically just manga panels and a PowerPoint. Season 3 is even worse so far. I shit you not, in the latest episode, episode 2, there is 2 separate scenes where it is a still image with the slowest panning camera imaginable. I actually thought my TV froze. And it goes on for like 20 seconds. Like, it lingers for 20 seconds on just a still frame and some like narrator dialogue. And it's just inexcusable. How can something as good as the One Punch Man property get this treatment? It's incomprehensible to me. It's just insulting, especially considering some of like the most slop trash manga is getting beautiful anime adaptations. Like, these actual nothing burger properties you've never heard of that are just actual garbage, bottom of the barrel slop. Like, last winter the Wizard Lord transmogrified me into a paperclip and whisked me away to Vampireville, where all of these vampire babes shoved me up their ass and tasked me with defeating the Demon Lord.
Yes. Yes, I like that. One of the tropes of all these dumbass isekai that has all the pretty much shit animation, one of the tropes is they got these goddamn long ass titles. It's like, man, they go on forever. I like, but again, JC Staff is doing reincarnated as a daughter. That's the shortened version of the title. I am not gonna go and look the title up or anything like that. It has better animation and it has a better story than One Punch Man season 3. I speak high praise of it. I'm pretty sure Moist Critical here throws it in that bin of trash and shit. I wouldn't blame him if he did, because there's a isekai are a dime a dozen now. They're a dime a dozen, and it's just all over the place. You know, it's funny how he just goes in there and makes a really long ass title that can pretty much describe any of the new isekai fantasy that are coming out nowadays. They can also describe the villainous stuff. They can describe those villainous anime as well. Man, I tell you, all over the place with these names. But let's go ahead and get back to him.
And it's like, who even knows what that is? And then the anime rolls out and it's breathtaking. Like, why does that kind of garbage get that kind of passionate studio treatment, but something like One Punch Man, beloved, gets JC Staff spitting in our face? I don't understand it. Now, I want to mention, I don't think they're doing it on purpose. I just don't think this is the kind of studio that can do One Punch Man justice. They already proved they couldn't with Season 2, yet they're hopping back on the saddle again with Season 3 just to prove people even more right that they just can't do it. So why did they even get this work again? It doesn't make sense. These 2 episodes have been abominable. Like, they are not good. Even outside of the obvious lack of animation, if you watch Season 3 of One Punch Man, you've probably noticed that there's pretty much no movement happening in this show. To call it an animation is being really loosey-goosey with the term. You're looking at pictures mainly, with dialogue. You're not really seeing anything move. Now, in the last episode here, at the very end, it's gearing up for a fight. And there is a little bit of movement at the very end there. Which is why I'm making this video now, because I believe that in the next episode it's going to follow the Season 2 formula, where that fight is mainly going to be impact frames and camera pan, but not actual action or animation. But I'm really, really praying, fingers crossed, I am wrong with that. In this episode, I shit you not, there is even a scene where Garo, when he's going down a hill to break up these bullies from picking on this kid, they didn't bother to animate anything there. So to have him go down the hill, they took Garo, that still image of Garo, and just moved it down. Literally panned him down with no animation at all. It is so janky. It is so gross looking. Now, I've read a lot of conflicting things about why this is in the state that it is. Apparently, like, there was a bunch of back and forth on who was going to get Season 3, and it ultimately ended up in the hands of JC Staff, but it took like a prolonged period of time, so they didn't have a lot of time to get in the laboratory and work on something of high quality here, so this is what they shot out. I don't really think that's an excuse, to be honest. Like, something needs to change in that case where scheduling is better, or like extend the deadline instead of just like pump out whatever just to, slap it on screen and ship it when it's clearly.
I completely agree that this goes to my point in my other video that I made about uh, being satisfied with, or being told to be satisfied, or rather to be quote unquote understanding of what's going on with the production process. I'm like, that's not our concern. That's not our concern that you're having production issues. You signed on to do this project. If you knew that you were not going to be able to give it your best, you should have just said, hey, we can't do this work. It's outside of our area of expertise. Please take it from us and give it to someone who can handle it. It's not us, the consumer's responsibility to sit there and try to help you go along with understanding how it is to make something, or have us have understanding and compassion that you fucked something up and just add that we should just be satisfied with it. No. Look at all those nice statues back there Moist Critical has right there. Can you imagine if one of them came all busted up, like the Doomslayer down here, if that all came busted up and he sent it back to, let's just use for an example, Hot Toys, and said, hey, Hot Toys, I'd like to get my refund on my Doomslayer. It's all busted up. And then Hot Toys come back, well, I really wish you would understand that the production process for this takes many, many months. We have to use multiple different creatives to go in there and put this statue together. So I really wish you would have some understanding and compassion and just try to hold on to it for a little. No, motherfucker, you taking this shit back and we want a refund. We don't want your trash. And we shouldn't want the same, and we should expect the same when it comes to dealing with places like JC Staff and One Punch Man. Now, we don't get a refund back, but we can certainly tell them off and say, hey, you're doing a shit ass job. Why are you doing a shit ass job? We want a quality product.
Not in a state for that. This looks so undercooked. It is just half baked. And to be honest, at this point, I'm not even sure if my anger is misplaced on JC Staff or if it really is just like Bandai refusing to invest real money behind this project because maybe they're just so content with mediocrity. They know this IP is so popular, people will watch it no matter what. So what's the point in delivering something special? Like, I think that's equally possible as well. Like, maybe they're more to blame than JC Staff. Like, maybe they just weren't given enough time or enough resources to make something good. I'm not really sure, but it is just tragic. And I don't think Season 3 is going to get better. I actually think it's only going to get worse with the fights based on these first 2 episodes. But again, I'm making this video hoping that I'm wrong, and it could be something that we look back on and be like, wow, Charlie's no Baba Vanga here. Look at this prediction being super fucking wrong. Well, in that case, it'd make me exactly like Baba Vanga, to be honest. But point is, I'm hoping that all of this is just water under the bridge over the next few weeks as Season 3 of One Punch Man continues, and maybe it gets incredible and it just goes ballistic. Maybe they just wanted the first 2 episodes to look like shit as part of a, galaxy brain plot to make people think it's going to be a bad season, but really it's going to be the best season. It's hard copium from me here, but whatever. What happened to the show I love, man? To see where One Punch Man Season 1 was to where this is now, a decade later. It's been a decade, by the way, and this is only the 3rd season, and it looks this bad. It's just infuriating. It really is. Anyway, though, can't wait for episode 3 here of One Punch Man Season 3. Maybe that's the one where it's gonna really get it together. That's when it all comes together. Anyway, just wanted to yap about it.
You can just hear all the excitement in his voice, all the excitement, all the copium, if you will. I have no hope for Season 3 or at all. I don't think episode 3 is going to be any better. And like I said in my last video, if episode 3 backslides behind episode 2 in terms of quality of animation, fans are going to be pissed. Going to be absolutely pissed. So those are my thoughts. You guys heard Moist Critical. If you guys want to see his video without my commentary, I will link it in the description. Make sure you guys do like, share, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. All that stuff really does help me out. And remember, this is Chris Bolt signing off, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Take it easy.